go ahead and take a knee. All right, so you guys have been selected as team leaders from your teacher based on a couple of criteria. One, they think you're very responsible and are very good at math and reading. And they also believe that you have a desire to help other students.
So just to give you an idea of what we're expecting to see, the 3 students that you see standing, these are your team leaders. Team leaders are going to be somewhat like a student teacher. They're going to be going around and gathering data information for us teachers to see if you guys are understanding the curriculum that you're learning, the standard that we're working on. They're not going to go directly and work with the quality control. They're going to work with the squad leader in the table, and then the squad leader is going to explain it to the other students. Make sense? So I'm going to be working with the team leaders. Miss Elise is going to be working with the team leaders. Team leaders are going to be working directly with the squad leaders, and then the squad leaders are working with the table.
No, we're enjoying
So, and all of it is about building capacity of your team leaders. So from the intellectual prep with them, or to like having them train one another on their roles, like that's all building their capacity, which means you're having them fill the void that you had to run around and do for 25 other kids.
What this is doing is it's spreading the responsibility of how the class runs onto the students and really onto the team leaders. Okay? Your teachers, Mrs. Gardner and Mrs. Mason, are going to step back a bit and coach you guys as if you were teachers.
At that same point, because if they set their timers, some of them have already ran out of time. So make sure that they're coming to the stop point. Okay. So go back to the team and let them know exactly.
To your point, Steph, is creating that exemplar, which we say is actually doing the work, and being able to have an ideal answer that you could share with your team leaders is right after that or that team leader selection.
Sure, whoever was teaching, which is any one of you, was pulling the team leaders together to give them like the next step or what they're looking for, or individually checking in with the team leader.
Go back to the engine metaphor. The engine for squads is the team leader, and the engine for team leaders is the preparation of the team leader. Like if that team leader is well prepped coming into class that day, they're gonna absolutely take care of business. And if they're not, that's when it doesn't work very well.
You're going to get your timers ready because each slide before an activity is going to have a timer on it. You guys are going to set your timers for the time that's on the slide. And that's how long you guys have to work on the slide.
And what are the actions necessary so that the leveraged model works? So this is like your first time thinking about what would I actually need to do to make this happen in my classroom. Turn and talk.
In order for the team leaders to be prepared,
I do like the leverage model.
right? That's number one, like it has to be ready and it has to be really tight and consistent. If we try and roll this out one week and then it falls off, as I do all the time, as you know,
So for me, what I think is that the first step you have to think about is how you train the team members, right?
Yeah.
So there's obviously a lot of training necessary for that to get them ready to do their job.
So one of the advantages of the leverage model over the solo model is that, like we discussed in the previous slide, right? Like the teacher or the SGI is coaching the team leaders, who are then going and coaching your squad leaders, who are then coaching the rest of the group. And for someone like me in my position, right, I can go around and target the scholars that I need to target.
And I think something interesting is that you have about a fourth of the class or more who are often teaching, actually, and teaching is one of the most effective ways to learn something.
Yes.
Right?
Great point.
Can I add on to that? I think in one more level, Alex, not only being consistent in what job and how you're pushing jobs, but you as a teacher have to be consistent in how you're planning and prepping the scholars to be prepared. Because if you are not intellectually prepped and actually have done the work, and that doesn't mean like browsing the Zern pages or browsing the EL lesson, it means like actually reading it and actually doing the writing and actually doing the math. You can't have kids do that in turn because you don't know it yourself.
What we'll focus on today is like you all getting your team leaders up and going, like from selection of them to what that first conversation would look like. Like, how do I even talk to team leaders about like walking around and doing this in my classroom? And then we'll stop there. We're not going the layers lower because we want to make it bite-sized so that you guys can tackle this in the next couple weeks.
And Peacekeeper. Be on the lookout for grade points, and I want to see points on those little blue tags on your desk. Capiche? All right, you guys have 30 seconds, or 1 minute. 1 minute to get logged on. Go.
The number one rule as a team leader is that everyone in the squad is able to defend the answer to every question that the squad resolves, either in reading or in math.
I wouldn't choose that.
Everyone on the table needs to know how to solve a problem, because at any point, we're going to call on a student to help answer the question. So make sure that every single person in your group knows how to answer each one of those questions. Capiche? Okay, that's work.
No, I don't know. I'm saying this right here is a little bit bigger than this. That's because the line is more than that. And then this is 45 degrees. This looks like it's about 40 degrees. Like on the other side of it. Yeah. Oh yeah, because then if you could just turn it and it would land right on it.
Point B and point A, they both translate down by 3 units.
Point as well. So you just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. See, it's right there. So you see where that line is right now. Draw that on your paper.
So you can kind of, it's easier to explain when you have like a shape. So like this square.
What's the number one thing I said you need to make sure that the squads are doing?
They're all on the same page.
Exactly.
Yeah, something that we've noticed is that sometimes fast workers or students who can, get the answer quickly might speed ahead, and then someone who maybe just works slower or someone who might need help and is struggling is left behind.
So if we're rotating it around here, it's going to be in the same spot, no matter what, right? So just imagine how these would look flipped. Does that make sense? Yeah, B would be right here, right?
These kids were the least prepared of any team leaders we've ever put up anywhere, and they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, they took it on with pride.
Great, so you're coming to all our classes, right?